is flowchart creation software, and the reason why I thought it would be a good idea is there was no alternative to making a flowchart quickly and making it look good at the same time. So it's basically an easier method for creating and sharing. We'll get to the sharing later. And here is a traditional flowchart.
Yeah. So I'm Patrick. This is an example of a regular flowchart that you would like come up with in PowerPoint. It looks nice and all, but the problem with this one is the fact that it took me about 10 minutes to make. And this is just a small flowchart, so you can imagine that when you have bigger flowcharts, it takes you hours to do. So part of the process is to make this much easier. All you have to do is enter your own data, and it automatically formats and creates a flowchart. Looks pretty much like this, but you can do it in like 2 minutes. And actually, I'm going to show a little demonstration of making that flowchart. So this is the home page. Create a new flowchart. We'll skip that. So first we just enter our big question. And you can resize these boxes to wherever you want. Doesn't really matter. You can delete nodes, and you can also link nodes or cancel links. And basically it works in a layer system. So create yes and no answers, move on, and everything repositions itself like that. So then we have, some answer. That's not how you do it. And then you can also link this and say back to the first node if you wanted to create a loop. So doing all this, we save, and then we can click and go back. And just for purposes of this demonstration, I've made it automatically link this, but usually you enter the information about the creator of the chart and the chart's name, and click go, and it'll auto-generate your chart. And so right now, the big part that we're working on is getting it to generate the actual pictures. Right now, it's just generating the first one, but pretty soon we should have it generating the entire image. And if I can get out of this, go back to this.
So the way it works is the information input through that method he showed you is stored in a text array, which each part of the array shows what it's linked to according to the flowchart, and then the output method will read the text array and output the chart. And there's he said he was talking about outputting an image of a chart. We're also outputting like JavaScript charts that are more dynamic, and also what other kind of charts?
Static charts.
Yeah, just like static and dynamic charts. So the next slide will show more about that. Yeah, like static ones could include formats such as JPEG and PNG, and then dynamic ones, as I said, JavaScript, so that there's more interaction or more like layer kind of views to the charts.
And we're also planning mobile support, so you can export to mobile devices soon.
Alright, this is an overview of the technologies we're going to use to make Flower. Most important part of Flower is the application to build and view the flowcharts. The demonstration that we just showed you made use of Flash and ActionScript. But we're also thinking about using JavaScript. The pros for Flash is that for every user that has Flash, we know it's browser compatible, and it's perfect technology to use for what we're doing, which is graphic intensive, I guess. But the bad thing about Flower is it doesn't integrate perfectly with the web. For instance, to use the application, you have to click on the application so that the user has to focus on it. I don't know if you guys have ever used played Flash games and you press down arrow to do something, and you move the browser window down instead of using the application. So we might either use just JavaScript or use a combination of both. And the pros that JavaScript gives us is that it integrates really well with HTML and all the web technologies. And I guess JavaScript is on the rise right now. A ton of websites are just using JavaScript for all their interactivity on the web. Once we after the building and reviewing the flowcharts, we're going to export the flowchart data into some markup language, and we'll store it into a database. Right now we're thinking about XML, but there are a couple other alternatives like graph markup language and JSON for JavaScript. And the output methods, as we told you, we'll give the user different alternatives. First, they can just export a static flowchart through some picture, JPEG or PNG. You'd give them a unique URL that they could click, and they'd just view the flowchart in a site that we're making. Or they could have an interactive flowchart that'd be in Flash or JavaScript. And our website would be built in PHP and would link all these things together.
So the benefits are the fast, simple construction, presentable results, and I really like the unique URL idea, which is the same as exporting and embedding. Yeah.
And we'd also like to thank Dorothy and everybody at RCOS for making this possible. Any questions? Yes.
So I like your idea of moving towards JavaScript to be more up to date with web technologies. I started in Flash and I really liked the environment. I see you have a really cool product already. What you were saying about the focus problem, there's actually a method on all HTML DOM objects that you can call called focus. And I believe if you just automatically focus when you page load onto your embed or object element, then that should resolve that issue.
Alright, thanks.
I was also, I guess, second question, wondering about what sort of external libraries or any just dependencies you have when you built that Flash document.
It was all in Flash. You just import all of the Flash functions into ActionScript. I don't think there were any external things that we had to link to it.
I mean, if we're using JavaScript, we use a framework, obviously. Probably Mutools. jQuery wouldn't do it for us, I guess.
You can just do native too.
True.
Depending on.
Yeah, well, what we need.
If you're just doing focus, that's already built in. You don't need an actual library for that.
So, you said you're going to store it in the graph markup language, and that's one of them?
That's something we're thinking of. We haven't gotten to that part yet.
There's graph viz, right? So if you could convert...
Oh, it's not graphics.
No, graph viz.
Oh.
It's like a graph making thing,
Okay.
which is pretty awesome, and everyone uses it a lot. So you just give it a little markup of just edges and nodes, and you can do everything you can on there and stylize it. Throw it to graph viz, and then pop it back out, and it's already made and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Did anybody else look at that? Alright, yeah, we'll definitely look into that.
Graph viz.
Yeah, graph viz.
There are other graph markup languages used better ones, but I use the thing, can you also relate all your flowchart boxes back to the code? So in other words, you can put a link there and then see this box corresponds to this actual code. Can we do that? Do you understand the question?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's basically just taking that part of it out for the user. because we were thinking just for regular people who don't understand code. So I mean, like, we're just trying to make it as simple as possible with enter text and everything.
So when you guys linked one of the sub nodes back to like the parent node,
Yeah.
It just had an arrow. So
Yeah,
it's really hard
so-
to tell. Are you planning on like creating like an alpha 50, whatever it used to be, at the other end of the arrow?
Yeah. So what it does is publish a preview. So basically, when you create a chart, if you link two nodes and you hover over this one, it shows what it's linked to.
Okay.
And then this would only show that because this one does not link backwards.
So what happens when you get like, if you have like a really large flowchart, do you have any plans for like a global view? Because if you get too deep, can you still see all the nodes back? Like I remember you link back like 3 levels.
Yeah, I mean, so like you can keep going and going and going as far as these.
So what if you want to link that one back to the first one? Do you, right now, you just have to keep going back?
Yeah, I mean, it's not too hard. I just click a few times on the same one.
Yeah, if it gets too much, then we'd add like a zoom feature, where you just zoom out the entire graph.
Yeah.
So you can't see more than 2 layers at once.
Yeah, right now you can.
That's really to keep it simple though
Yeah.
right now, but it'd definitely be useful to be able to zoom out or have another little display up here showing where you
Like
want
a
to be.
preview mode or something. Like a preview mode, like
Yeah, I guess. Well, I mean, that's why we kind of created the save mode, and then you can view your own chart that you just created. So if you see any problems in it before you export it, you can go back and fix them. Yeah. That doesn't go away right now. Yeah.
This is really cool. One of the things that we could add to make it more attractive to RCOS students is a sharing feature, where you share with another account.
Oh yeah.
And they can, you're probably working on that.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
unique URLs was mainly why I thought that was cool because people always share links to like memes and stuff nowadays. So
Yeah.
I definitely could see some funny charts.
Yeah. At some time, like way down the line, we want to add in like the ability to add pictures in, but